Croeso nôl, welcome to the latest Fearless and Devotion with me and Tim. Bit of a slim down one this week, but we've got a great guest and we'll talk more about him later. Firstly, I just want to talk about the newsletter. I know we've sort of banged on about it for a little bit, but we've done 3 or 4 now, Tim. I think they've been pretty good, haven't they?
I like to think so, yeah. It's just like a kind of like a short form, more regular version of the fanzine, really. So if you enjoyed the fanzine, you'll enjoy this. If you didn't enjoy the fanzine, go and seek it out. Or vice versa. Check the newsletter out, then the fanzine. But, it's just kind of us trying to put our own kind of pithy spin on things, which is quite difficult to do in the close season, to be honest. So it is still there
Who wanted to start it now?
That's you. That's you. Your wonderful idea. But yeah, no, it's still good because the amount of people that I've encountered are, I missed the football. Can't wait for it to start. And I'm not really. I get it. I do get it because it's so consistent week in, week out. But it can be when you're producing content and stuff like we do. It can be a little bit relentless at times. So I'm kind of like quite grateful for the breather away from the football for a little while. But this fills that gap quite well, we like to think, and just gives people stuff to think about and topics of discussion and debate. So please go and check it out. You think it's pretty decent.
I mean, it's 15 quid for the year, but for that you'll get obviously 52. They're about 2,500 words each. There's loads of little parts to it. Look, you know how bad I am at sharing my screen, but I'm going to share it now because I've got the QR code, right? So you can actually just. Has that worked, Tim? Is there anything discriminating?
All I can see is an Andy Gilpin OnlyFans page. It's fully
open. No, not my feet one, is it? Anyway, right. Pop your camera on that. That's the way that you can go straight to it. It's £15 for the year. It will go up after the introductory offer, though. So let's get involved now because it will be cheap, a lot cheaper than when it goes to its normal price. Right. I'm going to stop sharing that, and nothing went wrong, I hope. No. So yeah, please sign up. Please sign up. Stop me from eating out of the dumpster. Really.
Wow. A dumpster. You have turned American.
I know. I'm just I'm appealing to our American friends there. Right. Another thing that's sort of hit over the last week is this loyalty scheme. Now we're in various WhatsApp groups, aren't we? And this sort of document has been shared, which purports to be how they're going to do the system for next year. Firstly, let's just say this isn't official. We don't know, but it looks like, I tell you what, if this is a fake, someone has gone into a lot of bloody trouble, haven't they? They've really done a good job on it. They should work. If this is a fake, they should work for the club because they seem to have it pretty nailed down. So, I mean, you've seen it. For me, my sort of first impressions were, I've got a season ticket, I'm all right. Because due to the amount of points you get for even having a season ticket, I think I'm in a good slot to get tickets, even though I go to a lot of away games as well. So I would say I'm pretty much in the top echelon of getting tickets. But it's it's all right for me to sit here and go, I'm all right, Jack. I think for me, it needs to be for the members to really get access to games, because I know that's quite hard, and there's so many of them, and it costs a bit of cash to be a member. You've got to get some benefits for it. Tim, what do you think? Obviously, you're a season ticket holder as well. You go to a lot of games, so it's not really going to affect us that much. But is it the people sort of scrabbling around a little bit more for tickets who may find this a little unfair?
Probably, and having read the document, as you said, it's very, very in depth. I mean, everything has been pretty much as covered as comprehensive manner as possible. Hurt my head, to be honest, reading it. It was like, I was just like, I think I get it. It just needed a bit of bullet pointing, slimming down, really, sort of key points of it. But first things first, let's get the obvious fact out of the way. No loyalty scheme is going to suit everybody, right? No. It's just impossible to keep everybody happy with it. And yeah, the kind of like the initial kind of inner selfish thing takes over. You go, I've got a season ticket, it'll be fine. And I get that they probably want to implement it sooner than what they have done, but now is as good a time as any, because obviously we get marginally increased capacities in the league that we're about to go into. I say marginally because you'd be surprised. You know, there's a lot of those grounds.
Yeah, some of them are really low, aren't they? I mean, I think they put a list out in the week, and I think was it Cambridge was on about 1,100 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you like to Cambridge, Northampton, not big grounds. You know, for Northampton, see the Diva Stadium, pretty much an identical kind of stadium going on. So, you know, there's the obvious things we can focus on: the Charltons, the Birminghams, the Wigans, and so on, that are going to have a bigger allocation. Great. However, as people are saying, well, you know, am I going to be able to get a ticket for Shrewsbury? We knew how chaotic it was in the cup last time around, etc., etc. And without being too blasé about it all, it's a difficult one to gauge. There's definitely a lot of thoughts gone into it. It's not something that's just gone, oh, we'll do this, this, and this, and the rest will just have to suck it up. They've tried to be, I think, as fair as possible. And if we sat here and went through it all now, we'd never discuss anything else. And to be honest, with the best will in the world, people will probably fall asleep because it's just something that you need to read and not listen to. I think you have to kind of read it and dig down into the details to see if it's going to
work in practice. Once you implement it, you'll find out. You'll know.
It'll be trial and error, and it's no great surprise. You know, they said, look, we're going to be using a point system based on the last 2 seasons that have just gone. You sort of back to backs, if you like, because and no great surprise. They said, look, we just simply don't have the data prior to those times, which kind of gives you an indication as to the kind of the threadbare infrastructure we had prior to this, where, you know, you would like to think there was a database with who was a season ticket holder, when they were a season ticket holder, were they a season ticket holder for 4 years and then they moved away for 4 years, 5 years, and then came back and received. You need so that there's no consistency or database there for that to happen, which is what we're being told. So yeah, long short answer is it's here now. Not before time. It's here. Some of us will feel aggrieved at it. Some of us won't. You'll get people, I know for fact, people have been trying to work out their points over the last couple of years. Who's got what already? It's just like, I'm just going to roll with the punches. I'll worry about that when it appears on my little, login screen, how many points they've got and so on and so forth. But I think for the most part, ultimately, we're going into a division where there are bigger grounds. There are going to be bigger allocations. However, and this will be the interesting part in all of this, there will be a point, and it will probably be this season, similar to what happened at the start of this year, where everything will level off. We will have a run of games where we don't win. We'll lose 5 out of 9, right? We might win 1 of them. And everything is doom and gloom. Everything is Parky out. Everything is McLean should never have signed. He's past it. It'll be a storm of all that chaos, which we haven't really had. Let's be honest. Since the takeover, really, we haven't really had. Not to that extent where everything is awful and not rosy. So when that happens, it'll be very, very interesting to see what the drop off is in terms of, well, you know, they haven't won 7 matches. Why do I want to go to Exeter? Because there will be elements of it. They can guarantee there will, and that's just the nature of football. You know, that is if you strip it back, it is quite a wishy-washy thing because it's not cheap either. You know, it's not cheap.
No. Money is certainly one thing. All I would say is, even if they do go on a bad run, there's so much. You know, that squad is so good that they could go away and win at any time, really. So I remember when we were stuck in ruts in the National League, and we just knew there was nothing in the squad. So you sort of went to places like Halifax away or something like that, not expecting anything. And I don't think that's the case anymore. I mean, I was at the cup final yesterday. I was sitting in the city end, and it was very strange to see how fans who are used to winning react to not winning. And apathy, I think, was the overriding. They just sort of shrugged their shoulders, didn't really get behind the team in the last sort of 10 minutes when I thought they would be. Obviously, they scored and it was quite tight towards the end, but then they just sort of shrugged their shoulders and left. And I think City, sorry.
You will have had Manchester United fans of a certain era there going, this was how it used to be, where we were the underdog, you could see, like, when they scored, it was just chaos. like
Yeah.
absolute, chaos. And when you are used to sort of winning stuff over and over and over again, it's great, but apathy does set in. And you know what? It's like anything. When it becomes like a regular thing, it's like, yeah, oh great, yeah, we're winning again, brilliant. And it kind of takes out when you're used to having your own way week in, week out, it takes an element of spontaneity and a little bit of excitement from it, which sounds ridiculous, really.
No, you are absolutely right, because I think us in a battle for the League Two promotion spot after having that bad run actually made the end of the season a lot better for me, because we weren't streaking ahead or anything like that. Every game was worth something, and I really enjoyed that. Talking about something else I really enjoyed. So episode 4 of season 3, welcome. 5. I also enjoyed episode 4, but I especially enjoyed episode 5. I thought it was the strongest of the season. There was good emotional bits all the way through it. I thought Arthur was a good start, but the James Jones stuff was just fantastic, wasn't it? Just the whole sort of story, the way it was told, how James and his wife sort of reacted to it. I mean, what an unsung hero he is on the pitch. But to have that in the back of your mind, and he didn't miss any games, did he? He was always available. He was always there. I thought it was a very, very good sort of segment. Really, really well done.
Yeah, I mean, it was all about that whole thing of birth, living your life and living it to the max of your ability, regardless of whatever hurdles get in your way. And initially, I thought it's a weird thing, you know what? Because James Jones, he's not a fancy name. He gets on. He's the fittest player in the squad by all accounts. Absolutely hammers his bleep tests and everything else. And it's sometimes easy to forget that a lot of these players have these issues going on, which was kind of like an extension to what the psychology thing was in the previous episode, where all these players got all this stuff going on, and you just see the 90 minutes on the day and not everything that goes into it, and the other things they've got to take into account off the pitch and away from the pitch. And obviously we had the whole thing with Fordy not that long ago, and now James. So for these players to share their stories, they don't have to do that. It would have been pitched to them. Look, we know what the situation is. And that's testament to the club, the documentary makers, and the way they've approached that. So, look, we know it's a sensitive issue. The long and short of it is, other people probably going to be going through this. And if it shines a light on it, same with Jordan Davis, a few years ago. So there's always that common theme of hard-hitting stuff which affects people, not just sportsmen and their spouses, but people. Yeah. And this will have a knock-on effect to other people who can identify with that. You can see the knock-on effect to it. But I mean, yeah, I didn't realize how bad it was, how touch and go it was for James Jones's good lady. And I mean, I think I nearly started crying. I think trying not to cry now when he's got his kid on the swing and his kid looks at him. He's like, oh man,
that is such a lovely little look. Yeah, such a lovely little look. Do you know what? The doc is really good at pulling these stories out and really shining on them. And I think part of the reason it's been so successful in North America is, I think I've mentioned this a few times, that their superstar, their sports stars seem untouchable. They live in sort of big gated mansions, and you don't really get close to them. But a lot of our sports stars, not only are they quite accessible, James doesn't live in a mansion, does he? I mean, James went to the Wrexham Miler to, our local hospital on the NHS to get this done, and, great work for them. So it seems more real for me as I watch it. I thought one little aside was what Parky said to him when he subbed him off. I thought that was handled well.
And it's, it's obviously there's so much stuff that we don't hear because obviously Parky's mic'd up for the entire thing, it would seem, which is a big thing for him when you think of his initial reluctance to have the cameras in the dressing room, and they've had to earn that trust with him as well. But what amazed me is that James is like, well, something's not right because my family aren't here where they normally are. Why aren't they here? But he just gets on about his business. Has to be professional.
Even when he celebrates a goal, he goes towards them or goes towards where he thinks they would be. And yeah.
But I mean, when Parker says, "Look, your old man's way in, your missus not well, get gone." People have said that that's him as a human being first and foremost, not as a manager, not as a leader of men, which he clearly is, but somebody who you have to have the human touch. If you haven't got the human touch in any form of work, right, you're screwed, really. That's why politicians are idiots. They don't have the human touch. It's as simple as that, So, yeah, it was really good. And Arthur was amazing as well. I'd be well up for somebody sitting down with Arthur and just going through pearls of wisdom from him week in, week out about what he said about,
I thought you meant Arthur. I can't go there now.
I'll sing about Arthur Massey now.
Yeah.
Just the stuff he said about, pain isn't forever and joy isn't forever. Everything's kind of temporary, but I just love that. He's just for 100 years old, so switched on, and a lot of that is down to his love for the club. As simple as that. You kind of revolve everything around that time, and yeah, I'd love to imagine the players he's seen, the games he's seen, and I dare say that the moments in recent years must be amongst the very best times that he's witnessed. So I just loved it. I thought
would be on the loyalty scheme.
Yeah, he should get 100 points off the bat just for his age straight away.
That's what you should do, right? However old you are, you get those points straight away.
I'm not telling anybody my age. You can tell me yours. It's fine. But no, I thought Arthur was great. I thought all of it was very well put together. There was a couple of little lulls. I think there was a couple of bits where it was I just felt at this point into the third season, do you really need to?
No, I know what you're going to say.
Teach Americans this is this and this is that. It felt there were certain elements where I thought, well, is it a little bit patronizing? I'm pretty sure they know it, because in my head, most of the new audience, especially the American fan base, you and I witnessed it firsthand. When they get into something, they get into something. They research and research and research. So they don't need to be told what this is as part of the game. I can't remember what Humphrey went over now, but it was
red and yellow cards and what the referee.
Yeah,
I mean, we're on season 3 of a documentary now. I mean, maybe. I don't know, maybe a little fact panel can come up in the side or something like that just to remind people, but I don't think you need a segment on it. The other thing that sort of didn't get my goat, but I thought it was a bit of a lull, was the Notts County stuff. I think I understand that Notts County were the big villains, the big rivals on all that, and now they've sort of stepped away and they've sort of painting the picture of Stockport coming down the road and being the next sort of big baddie. They're not baddies, but you know what I mean. But I just thought that section just lasted a bit too long. I mean, I don't mind going back to them and sort of saying where they are as a final sign off, as in a goodbye to Notts. Here's where they are. See you later. But I just think it went on a little bit too long, really.
It was a bit like it should have just been, look, and just to give you a wider appreciation of how well we've done this season. This is where we are, and look how far our nearest rivals from last season are, and should have been done with that. But it was a little bit like bending over backwards to, do you want to have your say, Macaulay? It's just a bit.
They interview about 5 of the players.
I was
Notts players, and they have Wrexham players.
It was a bit odd, but it's one of those things that kind of bookends it. It probably bookended it longer than it needed to be, but that's our take on it, I think. So
that's fine. And there's so much footage there. Once again, it's just nice to be involved. So thanks for the documentary makers for including a little bit of us in the in the doc. Right, transfer news. I'm not going to play the bloody jingle because I hate it. You hate it. Oh yeah, there you go.
There you go. It's the a cappella version. I missed singing. Come on, Arthur. Come back to Wrexham. Don't be so tight.
Or his brother.
Or his brother. I had my shirt. Thank you very much to Mr. Wayne Cram for sorting that out. Hugely appreciated.
Oh, nice one. You got this. Right. So how are we splitting that up then? So you get it Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, alternative weeks. Liam wears it. Wears it to the shops.
Not my mother. Yeah, right. Some sort of joint custody. That'd be interesting.
Right. it's quiet out there. Transfer for
Yeah,
news.
it's dry, isn't it? It's dry. It's dry.
That's the thing, though, because you always sort of go, oh, well, just let's go for a list of ex-players that we can bring back. But Parky's never done that really. He's done his own thing, and I tell you what, 9 times out of 10, I'm absolutely taken aback by who he signed because it's from left field. I didn't really know that they were an option really, and there they are. They've just signed, and then you're scrabbling around looking at their Wikipedia trying to get a little bit of info about them. So Jamie Lindsay, is it the guy from Rotherham's
Jamie
been released?
Lindsay, yeah. I mean, there was a lot of strong rumours in January that we were trying to break the transfer fee we paid for Ollie Palmer to Landing from Rotherham. 28 years old, attacking midfielder. I think he's attacking midfielder. And yeah, and all of a sudden he's now left the club after 5 years. 5 years, yeah. So he's only played 401 minutes for Rotherham since February. Somebody said initially it might have been an unspecified injury. I'm not so sure. If you think that Steve Evans has gone back in there now, changing manager, huge change in personnel because obviously they're trying to right the wrongs of relegation last season. But he won 2 League One promotions, 3 years in the Championship. I mean, it's going to cost Wrexham nothing if they went in for him now, from a transfer perspective. So I would be very surprised if Parky wasn't thinking, well, he's back on the radar and he's available. Could it happen? Because I think it was fairly close to happening last time, and it didn't quite come off. So, but yeah, if he does come in, I think I know I saw Jordan Davis said this week he's hoping to train hard in pre-season and get in Parky's eye. And when you look at other players coming in that berth, you got to kind of think, Jesus, where's the in for him? Players like him in there to kind of really come back in and make a dent. And I'm still with the mindset that maybe a loan move might be best at this juncture.
You know what? With JD, I think he is at his best when he has been playing games. You can't ask him to come in and do a 20-minute cameo. I think that's been proved last season. To be honest, it didn't really work. So I think he might need to go away, maybe to a League 2 club. And really sort of get some games under his belt. And I think, I'm not ruling out Jordan because, it wasn't so long ago we were tipping him for the Wales squad. He was that good. So I think there is still a lot there. I'm just looking at that Jamie started at Celtic at the same time as Owen O'Connell. So I wonder if they're old pals. I was just what I was Googling there. He's not. He's only scored 8 goals in 137 games. So I wonder if he is more of a playmaker. Look, as you say, he's played championship games, and always the mantra of what we're doing with our transfers is buy a division higher. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if a lot of the targets that he's bringing in are championship level. Interesting. I think we still do need a striker, even if Fletcher does sign. I think we need something a little bit different there. Maybe something with a little bit more pace. And I know I say this a lot, but I do think there'll come a point where he starts to use the loan market because I think we have access to the Premier League's best youngsters now. As Mark Morris said, remember in this Devotion live night, you're not going to. The likes of Liverpool and Everton aren't going to loan someone to a League 2 club, but they will to a League 1 because the standard of football is higher. See Conor Bradley at Bolton, where he went there, played a season, and is now in the Liverpool first team. So I think Parky's done this before with Bradford, where he signed in a few sort of Premier League starlets. I know it's probably not on the agenda at the start because they wanted to build a squad, but now they're going to need something a little bit extra to get out of League 1, and I think that's why they may look to the loan system.
You mentioned Bradford. I think Ben Wilson, Coventry goalkeeper, has been mentioned as a potential target as well. I think Parky might have had him at Bradford. I don't think he had him at Sunderland, but he might have had him briefly at Bradford. Good shot stopper. Was kind of falling out of the sort of main picture at the Rico Arena, wherever it's called now. But yeah, I mean, it shows where we're kind of aiming it. And we have to get it right. We do have to get it right, because we all know that it's even he'll say it himself that Mark Howard is now the new kind of Christian Dibble, in the sense that he's the backup that'll come and answer all our prayers when the chips are down and get on with it and won't whinge, and he'll do more than a good enough job. But he's not first choice. He knows that. So we have to get that majorly right, because delving into the women's game for a minute, when we had the big piece in Wrexham Women recently at the documentary, I think Rob McElhenney said that Del Morgan, in his head, is as important on the pitch as Rosie Hughes was, in terms of you got your striker firing the goals, you got your goalkeeper stopping from going in. Same thing in the men's team. It's vital that we get this right. Crucial. Elsewhere, Aaron Hayden has gone back to Carlisle United. Good move for him, I think. Very good move to go back there.
I was surprised. I was surprised he went. They've been relegated, so he's back in League Two next season. I would say that if scouts came to watch him like a year ago, they would have gone, well, this guy's got championship potential. I know the injuries have taken their toll. I think probably he doesn't need to make a fresh start. Probably Carlisle will be pushing again for promotion. They've got him, they've got Luke Armstrong, so there's good players there. I did sort of wonder if someone would have gambled on him in a bit higher up, though. But if you're only getting 20-25 games out of him per season, and that's all we got out of him for 3 seasons due to injuries, then really and truly, you're not going to take up a squad place with a player like that. Who you sort of gambling on is what I'm trying to say. But it's a shame for him. But I think he's still young enough that he can have a good season at Carlisle and go on again. I'm just so devastated it's not with us, because there was that time where he was just getting on the end of Ben Tozer's throw-ins. He was scoring goals for fun. He was so dangerous in both boxes, and he was so dominant. And it's just I'm still gutted that he's not with us, but I understand why.
Yeah, and I mean, I had a few messages from Aaron, like in and around his move, and obviously the video he put out, telling the fans.
He looked upset.
Yeah, he did, and I mean, I don't want to sort of disclose. It'd be unfair for me to disclose the sort of nature of the messages, but he did say there's probably a few misconceptions around his injuries, quote unquote, which I think is quite interesting. But I think he'll use those misconceptions, as he calls them, to maybe prove a point. Now he's back at Carlisle, probably be given the captaincy, or definitely be one of the leaders up there. And yeah, you just got to hope and pray that he gets a good run now, becomes one of the mainstays in that team, as he was with us initially. And I'm sure he will. And yeah, I know what you mean. I think it's one of those things that in another time would have stayed, would have blossomed, would have carried on up the leagues with us. Same with the Palmer and Mullins of the world. Hasn't quite happened, and we wish him well. And he's the first of many that we hope will start appearing at clubs soon. I'm sure they're all coming back off their holidays shortly, and we'll see the big signing announcements.
I don't think EFL contracts have actually run out yet, so that's maybe why there's not been that amount of moves for us or other teams. Right, just a bit closer to home. So racecourse redevelopments. Firstly, I mean, I can't see there being anything but the temporary cop there next season. I think they'll keep it up for now.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
they were at pains, weren't they, to say in the documentary how much of a ball ache it was to get up. And Sean Abbey was saying how much of a ball ache it was to justify the idea. Yeah, and the fact that we're losing cash on it, but
they're not. I mean, as Humphrey sort of pointed out when he came on, and I asked him about it. Yeah, they were losing cash if it was only up for 2 games, but it's not been up for 2 games. It's been up for half a season, and you'll probably get it there for next season. So yes, it will become a moneymaker if it's not already. And
you think of the additional merch. You think of like food, everything at the back there. That's turning money as well. So there are knock-on effects to all of it.
Yeah. What else I was going to say? A pitch being relayed.
Yeah, there's been a few drone videos gone up. I've seen it's been reseeded and all that, or dug up. Obviously, you mentioned earlier on.
Soil fitting, is this happening?
Apparently, and so and what was the turf, the roller something, however you said it was. You mentioned it as like an exclusive several podcasts ago. I can't think what it was now, but there's a lot of work being done. There is murmurs of a home friendly that's going to happen. We don't know who or what that is yet. There is a friendly that's been announced away at Hensford Town, but I think in the ensuing days after the pre-season tour concludes, so I imagine that will be a mix of sort of academy players and kind of first teamers that have been on a periphery or maybe didn't get much game time in the States. So, yeah, things are slowly but surely creaking into action, even at this stage of the off season. So, in terms of the ground, got my hands on this bad boy, Oliver Stephen, the photographer that was in the doc a couple of episodes ago. Put this out for Fiverr, just all about just pictures, classic pictures of the old floodlights, that sort of stuff. Really good.
They
Nice
are massive. Absolutely.
Yeah, they're massive, and I'll be honest, they're missed. I mean, as much as I've kind of grown to get accustomed to the new ones, and we haven't seen the full power of them yet. They haven't been turned on to full blast. It still bugs me that those flights were ripped down and taken away, never to be seen again. Like they've been held hostage in a darkened room somewhere, which is ironic.
Can I just tell you a quick story? So my dad's not a football fan. For some bizarre reason, he came to Wrexham Hereford. You remember we lost 1-0 to Hereford back in the dark old days? Was that 5 or 6 years ago? Maybe a bit longer. Absolutely bored by the game. He's an electrician. Had a look at the floodlights, started wandering towards there, looking at the transformers, sort of looking at all the sort of fuse boxes around there. Had to be moved by a steward. But that's
like why? The steward said, "Look, sir, this transformer is going to kick off for you in a minute if you don't step back."
Well, it's just you don't want some old bloke wandering around. He probably thought he was trying to vandalize them or something. But all I'm trying to say is, like, my dad goes to the football game, ignores the football, is infatuated with the floodlights. So that shows how great those floodlights are.
I just wanted one of them to kind of be just saved.
Bedroom, so you can shine it through to next doors.
No, no. I mean, I'd love a lamp from it, guaranteed. But you would like, if there's going to be a national football museum in Wrexham incorporated into the new COP or wherever that may be, or into a museum in town, keep it. Keep one for posterity. It's amazing. It's part of the history. It's been there since what, 63, 64? I mean, that's a big deal. So if you're going to have the Greshford Miners' Wheel as a memorial at the ground, have little things as well to remind us of our past. It's important. How many lights, how many games has those lights shined over? Important stuff. And I just don't want it to be consigned to history. And as good as Oliver's book is, let's have one of those lights in situ somewhere.
Yeah, you're talking about the past. Let's talk about the future. Let's talk about. Let's introduce our guest, Max Cleworth, who you spoke to a couple of weeks ago. Was that pre or post Vegas?
It was a day or two before Vegas.
Okay. He came back a different man. He came back a man.
Again, yeah, he came back from pre-season last year, a different man. Then he's gone away, can legally drink, and has probably come back a different man. But he's great, it's a really, really good interview. All of which were questions asked by you guys out there when we put a message out on the X account. We'll stop calling it Twitter now. He's never going to change it as the old Elon. So I think he answered them all. Pretty much, there might have been 2 or 3 that was the same, so I just picked one from the ones that were repeated. But some crazy, interesting answers. The fact that he doesn't watch films, has never seen Rocky.
He's like Michael Owen all over again, isn't it? Michael Owen's a movie.
Not like Michael Owen. Michael Owen is boring, and he's from Chester. Right. So it's a very different thing.
Is that just young people? Do young people just like watch YouTube now and don't bother with films? I watch YouTube about films, and then I'll go and watch the film.
I know what you mean, but you say that is that young people, with the greatest respect to Max, whilst he's young in body age, and everything else and age, he's like a seasoned 32-year-old veteran defender. he speaks so well, and it's not media training. That's just natural. He just carries himself really well. You know, he always has done, and you can see it from years back. He's always spoken well, never been nervous, talks a good game because invariably he plays a good game. You know, it's as simple as that. And I think we're lucky to have him. And what will be equally as important as signing a goalkeeper, etc., is nailing him down to a longer term deal.
Yeah, we do.
Because as we've said it before, he's the most saleable asset we've got at the club at the moment, bar none.
No, absolutely. Right, here we go. We're not going to come back after the Max chat, so we should say goodbye now. And here's Max.
Yeah, up the Cleworth Reds.
Right, welcome to the newly crowned Young Player of the Year. That smile tells its own story. How are you, mate? After that, are you? Is it? I mean, you've always struck me as quite modest and laid back about all these accolades and stuff, but you must have enjoyed having that. I mean, were you half expecting it, or do you just kind of put it to the back of your mind?
Yeah, obviously, first of all, I was obviously really pleased to get it. I'm expecting it. I don't know. Obviously, it was close. Like I knew Arthur has obviously had an unbelievable season. Deservedly got in Team of the Year as well. So I knew he could have well deserved the award as well. Obviously, I was really pleased to get it, especially coming from the fans. Obviously, being from the academy as well, it means that little bit more, I guess. So yeah, I was really happy.
No doubt. And I mean, how was the night in general? Just because, like everything at club, it just gets bigger and bigger, doesn't it? As time goes on, it's not like the old Player of the Season awards where there'd be like, you know, some hardy fans there from way back, some comedians. And this was the full work thing, really.
I know. I actually didn't know anything really about it until really where it was until I saw the picture on Twitter. I remember the one a few years ago was just at the ground, and I think it was streamed on YouTube or something.
Yeah, I remember that.
So they've gone up a level, I think, since then. But yeah, it was quite a nice evening. Obviously, nice to have all the lads, the staff there. Obviously, the women's team as well, getting their recognition as well. So yeah, it was a nice evening. Great
stuff. What we'll do, we'll get into this. This is a load of fan questions for you that have been taken from the Fearless and Devotion Twitter account and on Red Passion. So there's some good ones, there's some weird ones, there's some amusing ones.
Okay.
Just run with it. It's all good. So
I'll try to give the best answer possible.
Yeah, do it. It'd be fine. Huntsy67 says, "What is your favourite Rocky movie and why?"
You're asking the completely wrong person.
You're going to tell me you've never seen it, are you?
That is probably the worst question you could start. I'm not going to lie. I haven't watched many films in general. I'm not really a film person.
Not a film person. Wow. What's your favourite film then, out of interest?
The one that always comes to my mind because my mates give me the most stick about it. Do you remember Captain Phillips?
Yeah, with Tom Hanks, is it?
Yeah, it's a really, I don't know why. I genuinely haven't watched, like you could say, all the classic films, and I've probably watched one of them. But like, if my mates see this, they'll banter me about saying Captain Phillips. So I'll say that. I know it's a bad film.
The whole Rocky statue in Philadelphia is completely lost on you, then.
Well, I know the like bits of it. I've seen bits, but yeah, I've not watched it for years. So.
There you go. You got a long flight incoming soon to Las Vegas.
I might have to watch it on the way.
Yeah, legendary. Ludlow Red. Do you have an idol or someone he models his game on?
Yeah, probably when I was growing up, it was Gerrard. I was a big Liverpool fan, and obviously I was a centre mid back in like obviously kids football, then in the academy. So Gerrard was someone. I don't know if you just heard. I think my sister's just screamed upstairs. Let me just tell her I'm
still alive.
Let me just tell her I'm on a meeting. Sorry about this. Emmy, I'm just on an interview thing.
Love it. Brilliant.
Sorry about that.
I love this. I love the fact that
she's just come back from school. I think.
Oh right, okay. Your younger sister, and she's like raining on your parade, asking you where you are. Amazing.
I'll start that one again. So Yeah, so Gerrard, because like I played centre mid, like I supported Liverpool. I just wanted to like just the worldies that he scored, the way he ran up and down, like that was something like someone obviously I idolised, and that my dad probably did as well, like in terms of football. So yeah, he probably banged on about him as well. So he was probably someone I modelled my game off when I was younger. But then as we got older, it's probably changed. I like Van Dijk, John Stones, Ramos, all them modern centre halves. Bit more, probably more towards them now.
Yeah, no, good answers. Good range of talent there. There's a couple of questions here which haven't got names to them, so we'll just wing it anyway. So you're currently playing on the right side of the fence, right centre back. What other positions could you see yourself playing in during your career, either at Wrexham or elsewhere in the future? Because you had that little dalliance in midfield, didn't you? Was it against Gloucester in the trophy?
It was Gloucester in the cup, yeah. And then I think I came on in, might have been Altrincham away in the National League, and I think I played centre mid. But I think obviously centre half's probably going to be my main position, whether that be back three, back four. I think I could maybe do a job centre mid, but obviously the more you play centre half, I think the harder it becomes to play centre mid, because it's obviously very different in terms of the way you receive the ball, the time you have on it. It's just all together, it's a completely different position. So I'd like to think I could do a job, but yeah, mainly see myself probably centre half.
Yeah. What was your favourite footballer as a kid? I imagine that's still Gerrard, is it? Modelled on same favourite footballer.
Yeah, it was Gerrard. Anyone from them Liverpool teams probably.
Yeah.
Obviously we've had a few good teams over the years, but yeah, Gerrard's the one who always stands out.
Yeah. What did the players and coaches either do or say to you in the dressing room after your goal at Colchester? That's from Rexy. What was the
I think Barney and Dolb said it came off my nose. So I was getting a bit of stick for that. But nah, just in general, they were all like dead happy for me. Said it was a goal that I deserved. So yeah, everyone was dead nice to me about it. I'd had a bit of stick off Aaron Hayden for the last few years, and so saying, when are you going to score? Like, so it was finally nice to get that league goal, and for it to be a winner in that stage of the season, obviously meant a bit more.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of the catalyst, really, wasn't it, for that run-in, really? Because it was a bit of a sketchy game. It's a tough one to kind of model through, and then you popped up with it, and then you won every game since that one. So it's kind of like,
yeah,
we're pinning. I'm pinning all the promotion on you, basically.
You can say that. I think there was a lot more that went into it, but yeah, it was a bit of a minging game. That pitch was horrible. Obviously, they were fighting for their lives. I think Stockport played them like 2 days later and had a similar game against them. It wasn't really about the performance. It was just a win at that stage. So yeah, I'm glad we got it.
Telford Dragons come up with a good one, right? So, like Marry, Kiss, Avoid, this is bench, buy, and sell. Buy, bench, and sell. Mullin, Lee, Cannon. Buy, bench, and sell.
Oh, you're killing me. You're killing me.
I'm not kidding. It's not my question. It's
Telford Red Dragons are killing me.
In inverted commas, it's all for the laughs. These lads ain't going to see it, are they? Really?
Oh, I don't know. They could do.
Be fine.
I
mean, you'd sell for somebody for like, not because of their bad behaviour, because they're like quality.
Who's gonna make me the most money?
Exactly. So you're thinking like a business
bench sell. So I've got to buy someone. Ooh.
Oh yeah, it doesn't make any sense, does it?
Yeah. Is it start bench sell?
I suppose if you were a manager, it's almost, if you're a manager, who would you buy? Who would you bench? Who would you sell? So yeah.
I'll probably. I mean, you got to buy Moles for his goals, haven't you? You can't. He scored 100 goals in 2 years, 2 and a bit years, or 3 years, whatever it is. It's pretty impressive.
Madness.
So I'll buy Moles. Bench. To be fair, you're probably going to bring El off the bench over Andy, although Andy scored a few. And if Andy was listening, he'd probably tell me he's worth 100 million. So we're probably better selling it. We'll bench El and we'll sell Andy for 100 million.
Sell him to the zoo.
Amongst the lions.
True. Yeah, exactly. Happy days.
We'll sell Andy for a bit of money.
Yeah. If he thinks he's worth that much, definitely. Yesti has asked, how did you end up at Wrexham, given you from the Wirral? Did you have interest from other clubs prior to joining us at the academy stage?
Well, yeah. To be fair, I'm from the other side of the wall. Well, in between Chester and Runcorn, so that's Bix from the Wirral. But I was at Connors Quay, do you know, in the Welsh Prem,
Yeah.
and I'd done like a 12-month basically at Liverpool's shadow group, which is like their second team. You go like once a week. And then someone who was like I'd sort of known at Connors Quay, I think had recommended me to Wrexham just for like a 6-week trial. I didn't really have any other clubs. I was just still at Connors Quay. So I just went down in the summer when I was 11, turning 12, I think. Just did the 6 weeks, I think, maybe 5 weeks. And then I remember it was Matty Jones at the time. The coach just obviously asked me to sign, and then obviously it was a very easy answer. And obviously Connors Quay at that time, they were great for like pushing lads into academies. They were big on that, and I think they still are, to be fair. So just credit to them as well. And then I've never looked back since.
Days. I know the answer to this because I've been at pains to get it right before, but Cumro has asked, how exactly do you pronounce your surname? I know this. Go on.
It is Cleworth.
Clue, as in give us a clue.
As in he's got no clue, and then Worth.
The amount of people I've had to say it's not Clay, it's Clue. It's Clue.
It is, to be fair, I can see why people say Clay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Clue.
There we are. What aspects of your game do you think you can improve as Sabutio Rob?
Obviously, I think every bit still, really. I'd say obviously adding goals to my game, something I would like more of. Obviously, I know we have a laugh, but like you see Aaron Hayden, the amount he contributes, Will Boyle, even Tom. I know he played centre mid the year before, but he still chipped in with a lot of goals. I think certainly adding goals is something that's gonna propel me probably to levels higher, or would certainly help to do that. And then maybe just taking like also responsibility, putting more weight on my shoulders to make things happen in games. But yeah, I think obviously everything can still improve at the minute. I'm still certainly not a complete player by any means.
Okay. Fez Bob, my partner in crime, one of many on this pod. Who is your closest friend in the squad, and who do you room with on away days?
Closest. To be fair, we've got like a good little. There's obviously a few of us who get on really well. Obviously Bix, who I know we went on loan to Aki, but obviously we've come right through the academy together. We drive in every day together with obviously Aaron James as well. But then like Barney, Dolbs, Luke McNicholas, the keeper. I room with him on away days. But yeah, me, to be fair, on away days, me, Barney, Dolbs, and Luke, we play this game Parcheesi for about be hours at a time. So yeah, I'd probably say like obviously I get on with everyone, but they're probably the ones I'm closest to.
Right. Denby Reds, what did you do to bulk up so much last summer? Diet, workout routine, or both? And it is noticeable because we've all seen it. It's like he's come back like not a boy but a man, just arrived with like his shoulders and everything.
I didn't really notice it, to be fair. But then I seen that someone I think you did a transformation post, didn't you?
That might have been me. Sorry.
So I'll give credit to Rich and Owen, both of them, the sports scientists. To be fair, I've done a lot of work with them in the gym, and probably mithered them more than they needed at times, just to try and add a bit of that size, because obviously I think all the top defenders have it. So yeah, probably just a few weights, a bit more food, and that's helped.
Days. Dave Wood, we're on to Twitter questions now. X, whatever, same difference. Yeah. Dave Wood, would you rather be punched by Stephen Fletcher, James McLean, or Ben Tozer?
Well, I don't think I want to be punched by James McLean, because I've seen the videos of him on the bag. I've seen him live on the bag, to be fair, at the ground. Fletcher and Toes, I don't know. I'll say Toes.
Toes. There you
I'll
go.
take one off Toes.
Take one off him. Matt Jones, Matt 98 Jones. Do you see yourself as a future captain of the club?
Ooh. Well, look, yeah,
You have
you never know.
aspirations to be, I guess.
You've got to have, yeah. I mean, that's something obviously I'd like to be in the future. Obviously, you never know what happens in football. But yeah, that'd obviously be something that would mean a lot to me if it happened one day. But I don't really like to think too far in the future. Take it day by day or season at a time. And if it happens one day, it happens. But obviously, just enjoy playing for the club at the minute. And yeah, see what happens.
Cynthia Scott, what do you feel the club needs to do to get the academy and youth teams playing at their peak level? And it says, who has influenced your play the most this year?
To be fair, I think the clubs took a really good step over the last year. I think obviously Dan Nolan did an unbelievable job keeping it going at the level it was. Because I think obviously when the club's not in the EFL after so many years, they lose the funding for the academy. There's something that goes on. And my year was the first year that we weren't paid as scholars. I don't quite know the ins and outs, but we weren't like full time. So I ended up doing like the part-time thing and being at school back with my. But I think this year, obviously, with us coming back to the FL, obviously funding's come back in the clubs. I think they've applied for Category 3, I think, and you can see the progress again. They're back in a proper league with other clubs like your Stockports, your Port Vales, Walsall. They're back at that level playing against the proper academy teams. So I think this year it's probably been a big step. And obviously with the club progressing, it's only going to help the academy. And it is a big thing, to be fair, for the academy to have that structure to be able to, obviously it looks better for other clubs, other players that want to join the academy. Because there's a massive catchment, to be fair, for lads all over North Wales into England. So yeah, I think the academy's took a real big step this year, and long may it continue.
Gaz Tro, I think I know what the answer to this is going to be. Please tell us you've got a bit of Welsh heritage that makes you eligible for Wales. You've got like a great grandma, long lost cousin.
I know. Unfortunately, I don't. I know. I've been asked so many times, and they said,
You have to move over here now for 5 years.
If I'd have moved when I joined, would have been sound by now. But yeah, unfortunately, I think it's got to be your grandma, I think.
Yeah.
Which makes you eligible. But yeah, unfortunately, no, I haven't got any Welsh in me.
You get any stick from Moles about that, seeing as he is eligible?
Nah, I don't, to be fair. A few of them say like they still think I'm Welsh, even the lads, some of them. But obviously, I have to say to them like I'm not Welsh. When I say England, when I'm supporting England, they don't believe me that I'm supporting them. But yeah, no, unfortunately, I don't.
Wrexham's the. I'm not sure. I don't know where to go with this one. How much do you hate Chester? And bonus question: do you agree Paddy Madden is in your back pocket every game?
I don't know. Well, I mean, the second one, I think obviously he's a really good striker. I've seen some of the things on Twitter, like even from the seasons before where the fans make the jokes about it. But look, he's obviously a very good player.
Yeah,
obviously plays at the level and bangs goals in every week for a reason. But obviously, I enjoy playing against that type of player because it brings the best out of you. So I don't know about that one. With Chester, I think obviously everyone knows the rivalry between Wrexham and Chester. Obviously, we lost to them in the youth cup a few years ago, which was horrible, especially because a few of my mates are on the Chester team that day. So probably something I've never quite lived down. But yeah, that rivalry between the clubs I think it's good. Like it's almost, I mean, there's a real hatred, but yeah, I try not to think too much about that. I know people who support Chester, and some of them they're decent people, but obviously when it comes to them playing each other, I don't think anyone likes them, does. So yeah, I won't say too much about it.
Happy days, yeah. You got to live and breathe over there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Wrexham, just Wrexham _AFC. Did you find it easier playing in League Two as opposed to the National League in terms of maybe getting more teams, more time on the ball, and teams actually trying to play a bit of football on the deck?
Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, you probably notice it more that some games are more of a tactical battle in a way, than maybe brute force. But I wouldn't say obviously noticed it too much. Obviously, I think I've had a good run this year and been more maybe confident in myself, which has obviously probably helped more than any difference in level or anything. I would say you certainly notice that more teams try and play, and there's obviously higher level attackers, and you notice them trying to gain that little bit more, whether it be in their mind or a bit of skill that they've got. And I think that brings the best out in players when you're playing a bit that against better players. You've got to be on it more, which obviously I enjoy that challenge.
Okay. What else we got here? A few of the bits. Emma Roberts, which team are you looking forward to playing in League One or ground that you're most looking forward to playing at?
I mean, Charlton's a big one. They're obviously historically a really big club. I'm not who's coming down from the champ. Is it Huddersfield?
Looks like Huddersfield, along with Rotherham, and it could be Birmingham, Sheffield Wednesday,
Yeah.
Plymouth, and QPR. One of them goes down.
I mean, to be fair, there's a few old Prem teams in there, isn't there? So, in really recent years for Huddersfield. So,
yeah,
any of them grounds would be obviously good to play, and I think would get even more away fans in there, and we'd sell it out. So yeah, them are the games you look forward to when there's a packed out away ground, the place is bouncing. So yeah, just obviously all the grounds you look forward to playing in.
Track act. Who was the most difficult matchup for you this season? Anybody that you come up against that you thought bit of a tricky one, this lad? You can say nobody. It's fine.
I can't say that. Obviously, the Blackburn, the game. Obviously, that Sammy Smodics is obviously very good. Like, I know he's not in our league, and will probably be in the Premier League next year. But he sort of had like a free roll, where he could go wherever he wanted, and that made it tough because you don't know whether to go with him because you don't want him to have time on the ball. But then if you go with him, you leave space in behind you. So yeah, I'd probably say someone like him. In our league, obviously that Wotton for Stockport, he's a big lad. Even someone like a Kindy for Colchester, he was so strong. Like he could just. And then sometimes you can't fight them because they roll you. You have to be a bit more clever of how you approach them type of players. But yeah, I'd probably say Sammy Smodics was probably the best one I played this year.
Yeah, he was decent. Steve Davis, what's your favourite dinosaur? Left field, but there you are.
A dinosaur? I'm going to go with T-Rex. I don't particularly know many dinosaurs, but T-Rex seems pretty obvious.
Gray Maloney's asked, do you and fellow defenders contribute to the thoughts on who would be a good striker to sign up and who to avoid based on who you've played that season? Do you ever have that discussion?
No, not really. I think obviously the managers and the coaching staff do enough research on players that they want to sign. They might ask obviously certain lads what they like as a character, more like what they like off the pitch and in training. But they don't tend to ask us about their qualities or anything. I think they tend to do all the research on that.
Yeah. John Craig, which teammate have you learned the most from? Can be this season, previous season, doesn't matter. Doesn't even necessarily have to be at the club. Could have been elsewhere.
Yeah. Well, I'd probably say obviously Toes stands out. From obviously he's had a really long career and played at a really good level. So he gives me constant bits of advice, even when he's not been in the team this year. That's probably when he's been on to me more, to be fair, because he's obviously watching the game and he'll watch them back as well. And we'll say like, did you remember this bit? Did you remember that bit? And I'll be like, geez, I don't even remember that. But then like, it makes you think. And then obviously, to be fair, all the centre halves, but obviously I've spent a bit longer with Toes. Obviously Aaron Hayden, And then obviously Owen's a really intelligent footballer. So he gives me bits of advice, and watching the way that he plays, obviously the calmness that he has, never looks like he's got time on the ball all the time, which is obviously a big skill of his. So yeah, I'd probably say them two mostly.
Yeah. You mentioned Tozer. Do you think, I mean, it's hard to say, but has he got the qualities to sort of move into coaching? Is that something you do based on what you were saying then, and the whole him trying to guide players? You can maybe see that in future.
Yeah, 100%. I could, to be fair, probably out of the squad, Tozer would be the one who I would say stands out most in terms of probably going into that career after he's finished football. I think he's obviously got a passion for the game, but then got the intelligence to it as well. And that drive to make other people better. I think he's also got that, which is probably a really important factor in going into that coaching. But yeah, I could definitely see him doing it.
Okay. Got a few more, and then I'll let you go because I know you've got packing to do and everything else. Favorite American football team or player, asks Lou Bowl 77.
This is you've probably asked the wrong person again.
There you go. He doesn't do film. He doesn't do American football or dinosaurs.
To be fair, I know the Chiefs. The Chiefs won. I know the Kelsey brothers from their podcast. Yeah. So I'll say, is it Travis Kelsey still playing, or Patrick Mahomes? One of them.
One of them. They'll do.
Sound like a right glory hunt there.
It's all good. Jack Morgan's got a good one. Would you rather score the goal to win us promotion or make a goal line last minute clearance to win us promotion?
It's a tough one, but I think I know the defender should say the goal line clearance, but I think if it's a goal that gets a team promoted, I think you've got to say goal, because I think the goal is going to be shown forever and ever, isn't it? Whereas the goal line clearance probably wouldn't get shown so much. I'd probably have to say the goal.
Wise choice. Joe Jeffrey says their son Kobe is following a similar path to Max in terms of the academy, football progress, currently playing a centre-back, central midfield. What advice would you give to boys in this position for them to take on board to help keep focused to continue their progress?
I think, firstly, the most important bit is enjoying it. I think that is the one thing you have to. If you don't enjoy it, there's no point. Like, even if you prefer playing centre mid, but you get put centre back, you gotta enjoy playing both positions. But I'd also say just listen to people around you, whether that be your parents, like the coaches, because playing two positions is like a really good skill to have, especially when you're younger. You don't need a nailed on position. I think the more strings to your bow you have, the better, the more chance it gives you of probably having a career as well. But yeah, I would say listen to the people around you, enjoy it, and then obviously don't put too much pressure on yourself, because obviously there's people who at 13, 14 think obviously they're going to be the next big thing. But then obviously at that age, some people develop when they're like 16, 17, even 18. So I think if you're not the biggest player at that age, or even the best, your development can come a lot later on, and suddenly you then start to be one of the better players. But yeah, that'd probably be my main tips.
Good advice. Andy Gilpin obviously does this pod too. Did Joey Jones have any influence on your career when you were first starting out in the youth team?
Yeah, he did. He did, to be fair. I remember the first time I actually met Joey. I think we were under 13s and Joey was the 18s manager at the time. And we were we were training and they were playing a game, and it must have been like 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning. And Dan Nolan's stood there, and like we're like 12-year-old, and Joey walked past, and Joey was before our time, so we didn't really know who he was at the time. And then Dan came and said to us, like, "Do you know who that is?" Like, you've all shook his hand, but you've not really like paid that much attention. He's like, he's won the European Cup for Liverpool, like played at Liverpool, Chelsea, he's played for Wrexham first team, and all of a sudden we were all a bit like, like blown back a bit. But then obviously as you progress, like Joey's always watching. I remember we trained at 9 Acre. We'd be on like the bottom bit of the hill, and the first team would be on the top, and Joey would be like sat on the bank watching us train. And like you can feel that, like, not pressure as such, but you know that he's like a big important person at the club. And then obviously just always chatting to him. It gives you bits of advice. And like he always looks out for the younger lads, especially at that time. But obviously I've not seen too much of him recently. But yeah, whenever we do, it's good to see him because he's always had a positive impact on me and the other young lads that have come through.
Yeah, well, I think don't know anybody's got a bad word to say about him, so not expecting anybody to have a bad word to say about him either. So yeah, Shawnee Prince, red or brown sauce on a bacon bussy?
I'm red sauce. Yeah,
red sauce. There you go.
Easy answer.
Easy answer. Blue Haynes, your acting in the HB commercial was superb. Did you have to audition for the part, and did you have fun doing it?
I had a lot of fun doing it, to be fair, in the end. But I had no idea what was going to happen. I think I was having lunch. I think I got a text off Mark Howard the day before saying that we need to do a bit of filming after, like the gaffers said you're doing it or something. And then Julie came to me at lunch and said, like, we meant to have a gym session. She was like, we spoke to him, you got to do this film at 1 o'clock. It's going to be like 2 hours. And suddenly I went, I thought it was going to be like 10 minutes. And she said 2 hours. Anyway, we go upstairs and all of a sudden, like, there's loads of cameras and they bring out a script of like the lines. And I thought, this is actually quite serious. Like, all of a sudden, this is like quite important. Like, probably for the club, this is like a big thing. And I've like swanned up after training, not expecting much. And all of a sudden, like, I've got to be on it. But yeah, like, to be fair, I was a bit rusty at the start, a bit nervous. But then, like, it was quite funny in the end. We got into it, and it was a good laugh. Like, so I'm glad it came out good because they probably made it look better than it was.
It's so good because it's made you, like, far and away out of all that inside, out of Ollie and Mark, you by far come across as the most intelligent out of everybody. I think they've done that purposely, like, to make those two like that.
Made me look good, to be fair. So we'll take it.
It was very good. So is post-career acting, is that the plan in like 20 years' time?
So you never know. Rob and Ryan can get me a role on one of their, even on one of the shows or one of the films. I'm not going to say no.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? That would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be mental. That.
We'll see Ollie taking a little cameo in that, which he has confirmed. But yeah,
he starred in the trailer.
He has, yeah. And why not? You know, why not?
You never know.
Craig Jones, do you know that the first league game back next season will be your 100th appearance for Wrexham, and it's also his birthday weekend? Not that he's a Max Cleworth obsessive.
I do, and I got told this on Sunday morning. We had family down from the northeast after the game, and we went for like lunch. And they were like, "Do you know that was your 99th start yesterday?" And I can't lie, there was a bit of me that was fuming because I knew I was close to getting to 100 because I think when we played Notts, I think that was like my 100th career appearance, and I'd roughly worked it out, like I'll be close by the end of the season. But obviously, to be one away, I was gutted. I've got to wait like 3 months now to get to 100, but never mind. To do it on my birthday, that'd be a good weekend. So
your 100th appearance on your birthday weekend at Charlton away, first game of the season. How's that?
Yeah, that would be good. If we won as well, we'd need to win. Yeah, make it a bit better.
It would be good. A few more, mate, and then we're done. Beardy has posted a picture of.
I think I've seen this one.
Paolo Maldini.
Yeah.
Did your mum happen to holiday in Milan around 2001? We had something similar for Elliot Lee last year. Like, did your mum holiday in Rio de Janeiro around the time of your birth?
I think my mate's seen it on Twitter, and that was the first reply or something, and they've screenshotted it straight away and sent it me. I don't think she had a holiday in Italy, but
Maldini's love child. It makes sense for Jay, and somebody else. Wrexham is the name, so yeah, there's a few there. But yeah, I mean, is it nice to have like I know you take this all in your stride and you're very humble about the praise and the accolades and all that, but it must be nice when people are saying he's prime Maldini, he's prime Baresi, or like harking back to all these players. I mean, as much as you keep the ego to one side, it must be nice to hear the praise you're getting, and rightfully so after the season you've had.
Yeah, obviously, like you try, especially in season, you try and just obviously focus on game at a time. And obviously the praise is like really nice to hear. But obviously in football it can change like with a game or two games. But obviously obviously to get it off the fans who obviously mean so much to the players and so much to the club in general after what the club's been through over 2 decades or whatever. Yeah, it does mean a lot. But obviously you try and just maybe not focus on it too much, especially while you're playing. Never get too high, never get too low type of thing. Just try and stay on the straight and narrow, and keep performing at a consistent enough level.
2 more, one from me, one from my friend Neil. Neil asks, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? I imagine you're just going to say playing football. I'll give you the easy out.
Hopefully kicking a ball. No, I don't know. Like as I've said, sort of like I don't like to think too much into the future. You just never know with football, with life in general. Obviously I don't take it for granted that I'm a professional footballer. It's obviously what I dreamed of doing as a kid. So it's still a bit surreal, still really like. So yeah, I don't really. 5 years is. I have no idea. Just hopefully still playing at a good level, doing the best I can in a way. And look, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows what could happen?
And my one,
I should say in the Premier League or Wrexham, shouldn't I?
Well, yeah, well,
that should be the answer.
That's the official, unofficial answer.
That's the official answer.
Hey, you know what? Look, in 12 months' time, we could be sat here one step away from it.
I know.
You just
I think,
know.
yeah. Just in general, I think everyone's got to enjoy the ride, because the last few years have been somewhat of a roller coaster, really. Even in the downs, like you still got to think of where the club's going, and what trajectory it's on. So I think, yeah, just enjoy the moment that the club's in general, because obviously it's to have had back-to-back promotions is. You don't get many clubs that get that, so I think you just got to keep enjoying it in general.
Yeah, and the last one from me. I'm always amazed by your temperament on the pitch. People talk about your sort of general overall play and that pass the other week. It was that pass too was great. That incisive pass was amazing. But like temperament, I never see you get angry. Like I never ever see you get wound up or angry. There was a big kickoff. I can't remember who it was that got sent off maybe a month or so ago. Opposition, and I think it was challenge on Andy Cannon. And
the Aki game, I think. Yeah.
And you stepped in, and basically got Andy away from that to stop him from getting booked and stuff. So you're kind of like this peacemaker, calm head. Where does that come from? Is that just something that's part of you, or is it drummed into you from an early age? Because you're completely at the polar opposite of like the James McLeans of the world when it comes to fiery character and temperament.
I don't really know, to be fair. I think maybe just in general, that's the way I've always been. Sort of can't be bothered too much getting involved in that kind of, like, whether it be handbags or whatever. Sort of trying to stay away from it, but like I just think me, obviously I'd get a bit angry. I felt like they'd done something on purpose, or as a fellow professional done a really nasty one. I think then I'd probably lose my head a bit, but I just don't. I think I play better when I'm more calm, just relaxed. I don't think I need to be like some people like Maka. It works. It gets him going. You see him get booked in like the first. I think it was Mansfield in the first 5 minutes with like the strongest tackle I've ever seen, and then the rest of the game he's just like he just knows how to play at that level. But for me, I think it works being more calm. It's just the way I've always been. Never get too too angry, or I think it'd probably make my game worse if I then started diving into tackles. Probably impact me in a negative way. So maybe a bit from my parents. But yeah, it's probably just been like quite a natural thing I've always been that kind of way.
And not watching legendary boxing movies like Rocky, that probably helps as well.
True. Maybe I need to start watching them, and then you'll see a different side of me.
I've got to watch Captain Phillips now to see what the fuss is about. Upon your recommendation,
Don't watch it, because I will get battered after this. When it comes out, my mates are going to hammer me for saying it, because it's probably, I mean, it's not a bad film, but it is nowhere near. I should have just said something like Shawshank Redemption, even though I've not watched it. I should have just said that.
Too late now. Doesn't matter. It's all good fun.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
I guess
it's all good fun, whether it's your favourite film, not favourite. Everybody's got a guilty pleasure somewhere on the film front, so it's fine. Right, what we'll do. Thank you for that, mate. We'll stop recording that bit.